was under pressure, ministry never quits. I was trying to do better. July 2020 in the mountains of Tennessee.
And lay the old man down. 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 Lay the old man down.
I was under pressure, ministry never quits. I was trying to do better. July 2020 in the mountains of Tennessee.
I'm sorry for all the pain I caused you. Can you forgive me? I love you. Forgive me, Abba. I ain't understand what I was really doing. Who I was hurting. Life undeserving. What I was living, my soul I was killing, separated from your life, feeling like I deserve so much more, but wasn't living on one accord. Oh, Father, yeah. But I'm sorry for all the pain I've caused you. Can you forgive me? I love you. But I'm sorry for all the pain I've caused you. Can you forgive me? But I love you. Living life was a foolish song. Not understanding I was living good under your protection. So much pain I'm causing, living my life so reckless. Not understanding your will. You wanted me to live it all good. I tried to act like I had to be good, banging and drinking in the streets. Forgive me for chilling with the murder, not understanding what your mother was, yeah. But I'm sorry for all the pain I've caused you. Can you forgive me? I love you. But I'm sorry for all the pain I've caused you. Can you forgive me? But I love you.
Millie Baxter.
Sorry, y'all. I didn't hit stop on the wrong song. Anyway, all praise to the Most High. Thanks to Son Yahushua Mashiach. This is the Script Talk Podcast with Yag Belu. Everything's different. I'm early this Boca. I'm having some bad signal issues at my location, so I had to move to another location, and I got to hurry up. So we in here, Script Talk Podcast, episode 22. If you're new to the podcast, go catch up. Life of an Israelite, YouTube, Facebook. Soon to be coming to other locations. But right now, that's what we got for you. Shalom to the brethren. What up to everybody else? Today is a very, very it's a different type of of scripture that I've been bringing, the book of Ezekiel. But it's one of those scripts that outline the plight of the Abba, right, of the Most High in dealing with us. You know, he compares us to wives, right? Northern and Southern Kingdom. He compares them to two wives that he has married and that he's dealing with and that he's cared for gravely, right? And they've gone and they've treated him so bad, you know. And I think this is important because there's a lot of haughtiness that comes with the awakening, right? It's a lot of, you know, we the people, we kings, we queens, we, you know, it's this real high-mindedness, right? Which, I mean, you know, to an extent, I guess you could kind of say some of it applies. But when you read how the Most High describes us in this book, in this chapter, and how he speaks about the things we've done to him as a nation of people, right? And we consider the fact that we still do this to this day, you know, hopefully not all of us, right? Hopefully we have changed our ways. We have sought after righteousness, right? And sought after him rightfully. You know, but in many cases this still applies. So let's get right on into it. We're going to be reading the book of Ezekiel chapter 23. And Ezekiel is one of my favorite books. Ezekiel 19 is another one that speaks of the heart of the Most High and his ahaba for his people, for his wives, right? As always, we coming out of the NRSV. Tells us plainly. I ain't got no problem with the King James or whatever, but sometimes these words spoken like how they spoke hit just a little bit harder. Hit just a little bit harder for me. All right, Ezekiel 23, starting at verse 1. And the word of the master came to me, mortal. There were two women, the daughters of one mother. They played the whore in Egypt. They played the whore in their youth. Their breasts were caressed there, and their virgin bosoms were fondled. You know, here, you know, the whole thing about Egypt, they was placed in a place, you know, the people as a whole. Whenever you hear about these two sisters being together, you know, it was a real, you know, chaotic time usually. Um, you know, they're in Egypt. They found themselves being taken advantage of by the Egyptians, and they had no power to stop them, right? So, you know, breast caressed, virgin bosoms fondled, defiled off the rip, they defiled, right? Uh, uh, Ahola was the name of the elder, and Holiba the name of the sister. They became mine, right? Most High said they became mine. I married them. I got them two sisters, Rachel and Leah, you know, and they bore sons and daughters. As for their names, Ahola is Samaria, Northern Kingdom, the Good Samaritan, right? I ain't gonna go into all that. There's a lot of meat on that bone. Ahola is Samaria, and Aholiba is Jerusalem. This is Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin. Ahola played the whore. This is the older sister now. It always start with the older. Ahola played the whore while she was mine. She lusted after her lovers, the Assyrians. So listen, if you know anything about Northern Kingdom, in I want to say in Kings and Chronicles. Uh, Northern Kingdom got taken captive by the Assyrians, right? They got conquered, right? But the Most High is saying here that before they got conquered, they was lusting after the Assyrians. They worshiped the Assyrians. They saw what they had, and they wanted it and desired it for themselves so much that they took on the ways. They envied their oppressors, and they took on their ways, which is breaking one of the commandments that the Most High gave to his people, right? As we see people doing today, we have to watch out. In these times, we see the prosperity of the wicked by all of their means, and oftentimes we think to do what they do to get what they've gotten. But we have to stay the path. We have to stay the straight way and not be like a hola and playing the whore while we belong to the Most High Yah, while we claim the covenant, while we claim to be the people, while we claim the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, right? We have to make sure not to be out here playing the harlot and the whore and lusting after the ways of the Gentile nations, right? She lusted after her lovers, the Assyrian warriors, clothed in blue, governors and commanders, all of them handsome young men, mounted horsemen. See, sometimes we see the shiny things, we see the outward appearance of things. It'd be like, man, that's nice, man. Whole time we need to be looking for the deeper things. We need to be looking for things of the Ruach, things of the Spirit, right? She bestowed her favors upon them, the choicest men of Assyria, all of them. And she defiled herself with all the idols of everyone for whom she lusted. She's taking on their gods, taking on their ways. Like, man, the Assyrians got it going on. And that's how we do today. We out here doing kung fu. We out here doing yoga. We out here fighting in armies and claiming stuff, proud to be an American and all this old stuff we talking, for the democracy for which it stands and all this old good stuff, right? Same thing Northern Kingdom did. She did not give up her whorings that she had practiced since Egypt. We did the same thing in Egypt. We took on the ways of the Egyptians to the point to where when we got freed from the Egyptians and got put in the wilderness, we wanted Egypt back. Same thing will happen today. The Most High take us out of this oppression. We cry out of the wickedness of the people, the wickedness of the land. If he take us and put us somewhere, we're going to be missing our air conditioning. We're going to be missing our cable TV, our cell phone. We're going to be missing the ways of the land in which we left, right? She did not give up her horns that she had practiced since Egypt. For in her youth, men had lain with her and fondled her virgin bosom and poured out their lust upon her. See, this is before the Most High took her in. It's one thing for you to have been abused before I got to you. But now that I done got to you and I done came in, I done made my covenant with you, you shouldn't be getting your breast fondled. You shouldn't be getting your breast fondled. You shouldn't be out here being defiled. You shouldn't be out here taking on the ways of other nations. Right? Because you've been given ways now. Why are you taking on ways of others when you've been given ways? You've been given a manner of life. Right? Therefore, I delivered her into the hands of her lovers. He said, well, hey, you want to be with them? Go ahead. Therefore, I delivered her into the hands of her lovers, into the hands of the Assyrians, for whom she lusted. Every nation we ever lusted after, the Most High made sure they conquered us. These uncovered her nakedness. They seized her sons and her daughters, and they killed her with the sword. Like I said, they conquer us. The Most High said he will give them over to vain delusions. right? Judgment was executed upon her, and she became a byword among women, among the nations. A byword. This is Northern Kingdom now. Northern Kingdom got cast away, spread out to the four corners, and they were so disgusted with Northern Kingdom. Southern Kingdom was so disgusted with Northern that they was unclean to them like pork. To where they like, now we don't deal with them. We don't go in their house. We don't do none of that. That's why the Samaritan woman at the well told Yahusha, "What you talking to me for? Y'all don't deal with us. Y'all don't rock with us. We a byword. You know, what have you to do with me being a Jew? You know, that's what they want to know." Her sister Olihaba, the Jew, right? The Yahudim, Northern Kingdom. Her sister Olihaba saw this. Yet she was more corrupt than she in her lusting and in her whorings, which were worse than those of her sisters. She lusted after the Assyrians, governors and commanders, warriors clothed in full armor, mounted horsemen, all of them handsome young men. And I saw that she was defiled. They both took the same way. That's why too, you shouldn't judge. You shouldn't judge too early, because you know not the end of a sinner, right? The big sister could have repented at the end, which in some ways she kind of did establish a certain kind of a righteousness. That's why Yahusha came back pointing out some of the righteousness of the Samaritans over the Yahudim. You know, she was defiled. They both took the same way, but she carried her whorings further. When you get into the whole thing about the Chaldeans and about the Persians and the Greeks, when it came to them Greeks and them Colosseums and doing abominations in the temple, sacrificing swine's flesh in the temple, she went a whoring further. As we see today in this walk with different groups of Israelites, we see some that do worse things than people in the world do. You know, the Most High saved us out of the world, saved us out of sins, right? But you got people in the walk doing worse things than some people in the world. You know, taking their whorings further. So we have to be mindful of these things. You know, be on point. Be not drunken. Be sober-minded, right? She saw male figures carved on the wall, images of the Chaldeans portrayed in vermilion. See, it's always looking, beholding the other nations, the power, the status and the ways of the other nations, and we get all smitten, man. We do this till this day, man. We see little stuff, little fads, the locomotion coming out, we got to do it. All this old stuff, man. A lot of people don't want to believe it, but many things that we do is really heathen stuff that we, just like our forefathers, called these two sisters taking on the ways of the nations, right? But she carried her whorings further. She saw male figures carved on the wall, images of the Chaldeans portrayed in vermilion, with belts around their waist, with flowing turbans on their heads, all of them looking like officers. A picture of Babylonians whose native land was Chaldea. When she saw them, she lusted after them. This is Northern Kingdom now. Looking at stuff, lusted. The sister had been cast off. The sister has been divorced, given a bill of divorcement, cast off, right? Now here she go doing worse than what the sister did. This is all, I think, Jeremiah 3 speaks about this. Ezekiel 19 or 16, I can't quite remember which one. But many times the Most High talks about this marriage that he entered into with these wicked sisters, right? And oftentimes he speaks about how they defiled his children. They 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 brought up strange children unto him that he don't know, because they weren't brought up in his ways, you know, which we could see this today even in our own lives. If we have children that we are estranged from, who are brought up by other people or other mindsets, and then we go around them and it's strange to us. That's how the Most High feel. I don't even know you. Like, you ain't got you ain't got nothing I talk. Like, you just strange to me, right? And this is how he feels. And the Babylonians came to her into the bed of love. That's not a harbor. That's love right there. That's sex. And they defiled her with their lust. And after she defiled herself with them, she turned from them in disgust and came into covenant and came into agreement. That's why I say, don't make no covenants like this with the other nations. Whereas you taking on ways, you submitting to them. If they come and submit to you, that's different. You know, if they're seeking protection, if they're seeking your input, that's different. But to submit yourselves to these other nations is doing what he said, get into a bed of love, defiling yourself with lust, defiling yourself with these other nations. She turned from them in disgust. When she carried on her whoring so openly and flaunted her nakedness, I turned in disgust from her, as I turned from her sister. Yet she increased her whorings, remembering the days of her youth, when she played the whore in the land of Egypt, and lusted after her paramours there. I don't know what a paramour is. I'm just going to be honest with you. Let's see, can we find out what a paramour is? Hold on real quick. What is a paramour? Paramour, a lover, especially the illicit partner of a married person. Hey, because she's still married. She ain't been given a decree, a bill of divorce like her sister. I mean, they don't really tell you in detail, man, but Northern Kingdom did something very, very bad. For the Most High to do, as he said, and write them a bill of divorcement, to really, really divorce them, like, they must have did something bad with the Assyrians, man. But whatever they did, apparently Northern Kingdom did worse. So, and lusted after paramours there, whose members were like those of donkeys. In another translation, it said, this is talking about the private member of donkeys. It said her lust, she has perverted desires and perverted lust. That she don't want men. She don't want what's regular and natural. She don't want her husband, right? Uh, you know, uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like nature ordained, right? She don't want that. She wants abomination, and not only abomination, extreme abomination. She said her lovers, whose members were like those of donkeys. You want the donkey, the donkey penis, and whose emissions, what is that? The seed of copulation was like that of stallions. Just extreme in every way. This is the type of This is the type of a lustful mind and a lustful nature that they had. So you can talk about we kings and queens, and we also subject to diverse passions and diverse lusts of extreme natures and complete abominations and disgust to the Most High Yah, as we see till this day. Thus you longed for the lewdness of your youth, when the Egyptians fondled your bosom and caressed your young breasts. Therefore, O Holeba, thus says the Most High Yah, I will rouse against you your lovers from whom you turned in disgust, and I will bring them against you from every side. The Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, Pekod and Shoah and Koah, and all the Assyrians with them, handsome young men, governors and commanders, all of them, officers and warriors, all of them riding on horses. They shall come against you from the north with chariots and wagons, and a host of peoples that shall set themselves against you on every side with buckler, shield, and helmet, and I will commit the judgment to them, and they shall judge you according to their ordinances. And if I'm not mistaken, every kingdom after the Assyrians started taking over the other one, right? So when the Assyrians lost to the Chaldeans, it was the Chaldeans and the Assyrians coming against them. And when the Chaldeans lost to the Persians, then it was the Chaldeans, you know what I'm saying? Like it kept growing with everybody who get taken over, people get taken slaves and made to fight in the army, right? So this what the Most High say about he gonna bring all of them against you. That's what happened. You know, the Greeks took over them. You know, Alexander the Great, we all know he had a great army. He took over the whole world. So he brought all of them when he came. So it's just, you know, the Most High said he gonna heat it up 7 times 7, right? Hotter and hotter, worse and worse. What was it? I will commit judgment. I will commit the judgment to them, and they shall judge you according to their ordinances. I will direct my indignation against you in order that they may deal with you in fury. Made their hearts cold towards us, that they may not regard the young or the old. They shall cut off your nose and your ears, and your survivors shall fall by the sword. They shall seize your sons and your daughters, and your survivors shall be devoured by fire. That's what they tried to do to the 3 young Hebrew boys. Cast them in the fire. There had to have been a practice of theirs. They shall also strip you of your clothes and take away your fine jewels. Uh-oh. Now we get into the things that's special about you, your laws, your ordinances, your feast days. They taking it away. You can't do it. You can't keep Sabbath. You can't keep your feast. You're going to get thrown in the fire if we catch you. They shall also strip you of your clothes and take away your fine jewels. So I will put an end to your lewdness and your whoring brought from the land of Egypt. You shall not long for them or remember Egypt anymore. Mizraim, bondage. For thus says the Most High Yah, I will deliver you into the hands of those whom you hate, into the hands of those from whom you turn to in disgust. Because supposedly we hate them, supposedly we discussed it with them, but yet we take on their ways, just like we do today. We supposedly hate this system. We supposedly hate the people who control the system, but yet we taking on their ways. That's why we being given over. That's why you see people still being killed. You see people still being punished, still having hardships, because they claim to hate them, but truly they lust after them. And what happens? They deal with you in hatred. Most High don't change. It's the same. It's same consequences. Because if they had to get it, we got to get it. They shall deal with you in hatred and take away all the fruit of your labor and leave you naked and bare. And the nakedness of your whoring shall be exposed. That's what happened, man. We've been exposed in these other religions, in these other ways of life. We've been exposed that this ain't for us. That's why these other religions hate us. When black people go to Mecca, oftentimes they hate it. They looked at as nothing, as like filth, a lot of them. Unless you got money, unless you got status and power. But even then, I'm sure behind closed doors, they talk about us, right? Hindu, we in all this stuff, kung fu, we everywhere we go, everything we try to get into, Church of Scientology, Mormonism and all this stuff, man. They hate us, right? The nakedness of our whoring shall be exposed. Most I said we shall have no comfort. We shall have no rest in these other ways, in these other mindsets. I be praying too that he trouble the wicked unto repentance. Let them have no rest. Get them out of there. Let them not find any rest until they come into the hands of the Most High Yah. Torah, so be it. Right? Your lewdness and your whorings have brought this upon you because you played the whore with the nations. It's always a cause and effect. Why am I being punished? Because you brought it upon you by playing the whore, by doing something contrary than what I ordained you to do. Punishment come with that. And polluted yourself with their idols. Same thing we see today. The pollution. There is an effect these things have on you when you're dealing with them to where it overtakes you. Just like the curses do. They shall pursue you and overtake you. Right? You have gone the way of your sister. Therefore, I will give her cup into your hand. See, this is what Judah was tripping off of, because Northern Kingdom got scattered to different lands, right? For a long time. Now, granted, Southern Kingdom got taken into captivity to different places by different kingdoms, but that true scattering, that true dispersal, that true sign of judgment, they had to think, you got to be stripped naked. You got to be stripped naked just like Northern Kingdom was. You ain't stripped naked when you still got your temple. You're not stripped naked when you still keeping feast days in the land. So they should have been looking for, man, we got to pay for everything we've done. So the Most High set them up, though. He set them up. He sent his son. Sent his son to talk to him. Now, many got saved. So, it's twofold. It'd be a blessing and a curse, depending on how you want to take it. If you receive correction, then you're going to get the blessing, quote unquote. You're going to get the gift, the barakah, right? But if you don't receive it, then you're going to get the curse. And this is what we see, what happened when they killed Yahusha. And about a good 20 to 30 years later, we see the destruction of the land and the casting out of the people to the four corners of the earth over the next, couple centuries, right? Thus says the Most High Yah, you shall drink your sister's cup deep and wide. You shall be scorned and derided. It holds so much. You shall be filled with drunkenness and sorrow, a cup of horror and desolation in the cup of your sister Samaria. You know what's crazy too, though? It just hit me. Before they got scattered, they got to see the redemption of Samaria. Because you got to think, you got the apostles going out preaching the tube news to those that had been cast away, telling them, hey, you can come back, but you're coming back under the blood. You're coming back under a new line of things. You ain't gotta come down here to the temple, right? You ain't gotta be having these feast days. You just gotta circumcise your heart and your flesh. So the Jews witnessed this. That's why it was a lot of beefs. And Paul writing letters trying to calm the beef down between the two sides. Because they saying, no, man, you got to do all this stuff that we do. Paul like, no, that's not the ordinance. That's not what they got to do. So it's still a lot of contention with that till this day, right? But still, they got to see the salvation of the righteous, really, right? Because only the righteous hear and heed, right? So those that heard and heeded and received the Ruach and spoke in tongues and did great works and stuff, Southern Kingdom got to see that before they destruction came. Just like the scriptures say, the righteous shall see the destruction of the wicked. And you know who persecuted a lot of them people that was coming into the faith? Southern Kingdom, the Jews, the Sanhedrin. They persecuted them people when they trying to come in, when they trying to learn the ways of the Most High, trying to learn righteousness. So they got to see that. They got to see their destruction. The Most High is awesome in his judgment, man. Awesome in it. So a lot of people act like they don't know who Samaria is, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, it is what it is. You shall drink it and drain it out and gnaw at sherds and tear out your breasts. Them same breasts I was getting fondled on. Now I ain't going to tear them out. For I have spoken, says the Most High Yah. Therefore, thus says the Most High Yah, because you have forgotten me and cast me behind your back. So this is something we should not do. We should not forget the Most High, and we should not cast him behind our back. Because that means all this judgment that came upon them going to come upon us. Therefore, bear the consequences of your lewdness and whorings. The master said to me, mortal, will you judge Aholah and Aholibah? Then declare to them their abominable deeds. For they have committed adultery, and blood is on their hands with their idols. They have committed adultery, and they have even offered up to them for food the children whom they had borne to me. Caused their children to pass under the fire, like he said, don't do. Moreover, this they have done to me. They have defiled my sanctuary on the same day and profaned my Sabbath. For when they had slaughtered their children for their idols, on the same day they came into my sanctuary to profane it. So here we got people keeping the law, but they got wickedness in them. They're trying to be lukewarm. They keeping the ways of the nations, and then on Shabbat, they want to come and shalom, shalom, right? When they just got done, letting their children commit all kind of, spiritual whoredoms against the Most High Yah, whether, that be watching the wrong stuff on TV, um, uh, taking after idols and stuff with the whatever, Hey, listen, a lot of stuff people you sat on a stately couch with a table spread before it on which you had placed my incense and my oil. The sound of a raucous multitude was around her. Hey, we got to be careful not to be taking what the Most High has given us gifts and polluting them. and polluting them with the other nations, polluting them with mixing and blending. With many of the rabbis brought in drunken from the wilderness, and they put bracelets on the arms of the women and beautiful out with adulteries. So put a gang of miles on that thing, need a new transmission. But they carry on their sexual acts with her. He said, adulteresses on their hands. It says the bring up an assembly against them and make them an object of terror and of plunder. Own them, kill their sons and their daughters, and burn up their houses. You know, we've seen this happen. Jehu, it happened with Elijah. This is all after King David and after Solomon, what he's talking about. This is Assyria, Chaldea, Persians. But anyway, it's happened, right? Righteous judges rose up in the land and brought judgment upon those that worship after these other nations, which is what we probably need today. I don't know. It's a lot going on. It's a lot of wickedness going on. It's a lot of stuff going unchecked. People just doing all kind of whoredoms, man. They taxing people, putting heavy burdens upon people. They laying hands on people. They casting them out of assemblies, and they just doing all kinds of stuff, man. That's wrong, right? Thus will I put an end to lewdness in the land, so that all women. See, the judges got to rise up to put an end to the lewdness. Thus, what he did say, in the land, in Jerusalem, which there is a scripture that says the parents will slay their children, who are wicked, right? Which could tie into this in the land or in the wilderness prior to going into the land. So that, but some would say we're in the wilderness now, the wilderness of the people, the wilderness among these other nations. So it all depends on how you see it, I guess. So that all women may take warning and not commit lewdness as you have done. This is a message to the other nations. They shall repay you for your lewdness, and you shall bear the penalty of your sinful idolatry, and you shall know that I am the Most High Yah. I mean, unless he's made the other nations judges of us, right? And our punishment that we received in these other nations, in America, in Europe, in the islands, in Iraq, in China, because everywhere our people been, they'd been tortured, they'd been beat, they'd been enslaved. So we, for all intents and purposes, to the other nation, we are an accursed people and a byword and a proverb of what not to do. But it is what it is. Thought I, y'all. Shalom to everybody that's watching. All praises to the Most High. That's the end of that. So I hope you've been edified. I hope you got some out of it. Told y'all for joining in. Please hit that like button. Hit that like button. Stop what you're doing. Hit the like button. Don't rob your brother of his likes and his subscriptions. So anyway, all praise to the Most High, man. I hope to see you on episode 23 and beyond. And until next time, Script Talk Podcast, Akbilu, all praise to the Most High. Thanks to Son Yahushua Mashiach, 12 tribes, one nation. Hallelujah.